A battle between these two, and Gout working so hard to get to him, and he gets there. Gout takes it by a meter and moving away.
The world of sprinting just got shaken by a 17-year-old no one saw coming. His name, Gout Gout. The Australian teenager didn't just break a record, he shattered one that once belonged to Usain Bolt. From school tracks in Queensland to headlines worldwide, his rise feels unreal. Coaches can't explain it.
And I went, yeah, all the way, dude. If I can't do it, no full well I'll put you in the right spot.
Rivals can't believe it, and fans are asking the same question, how is this even possible? Every race he runs bends the limits of speed, and every stride looks like a glimpse into sprinting's future. On June 24, 2025, the Golden Spike meeting in Ostrava, Czechia, became the stage for a new chapter in sprinting history. Competing in his first major international race, Gout Gout ran the 200 meters in 20.02 seconds, a new Australian record. The teenager's effortless stride carried him 0.2 ahead of Cuba's Rainier Mina and nearly 0.6 faster than Team GB's Nathaniel Mitchell-Blake. With that single run, he shattered Peter Norman's 56-year-old national record and eclipsed Usain Bolt's under-16 world best. Standing next to the scoreboard, beaming under the stadium lights, Gout knew he had arrived. "I feel good," he told reporters. "New personal best. New national record. I don't feel pressure, because as soon as I step out on that track, it's just me by myself and what I've got to do." It wasn't just a win. It was a signal to the world that the next generation of sprinting had arrived, and it carried an Australian passport. Born in Ipswich, Queensland, to South Sudanese parents who migrated to Australia in 2005, Gout grew up in a large family of 7 siblings. His father worked in a hospital kitchen. His mother managed the household, and both instilled in their son a sense of humility and determination. He showed talent early, dominating school meets with a natural stride that left others behind. By 15, he was running national times. By 16, he had broken the 200 meters under 18 record with a 20.04, faster than Bolt at the same age. Coach Dee Shepherd recognized early on the extraordinary potential in Gout Gout. She saw someone who moved with rare fluidity and raced with a steely composure that belied his age. From the moment she brought him into her training squad, she understood his life was about to shift dramatically. She told him that from now on, there would be fewer nights out, fewer distractions. The sacrifices demanded by greatness were already beginning to take shape. By 17, Gout Gout had become one of the most talked about young sprinters in the world, with over 200,000 followers, a major Adidas deal, and World Athletics promotion ahead of his Tokyo debut. His rise was meteoric. Even Usain Bolt took notice, praising his talent but cautioning that success at the senior level would demand discipline and patience. Gout's secret isn't just power, it's precision. His rival and training partner, Lachlan Kennedy, revealed that Gout's technique defies convention. "His heels don't touch the ground," Kennedy explained. "We call it heel recovery. It's off the charts. Even Bolt didn't have that. It's why he maintains top speed so easily." In sprinting, the smallest biomechanical differences can decide victory. With less contact time per stride, Gout glides rather than runs. "The person who wins," Kennedy said, "is usually the one who slows down the least." That efficiency has analysts calling him the most naturally gifted Australian sprinter since Kathy Freeman, and possibly the country's best ever prospect in men's sprinting. Just months after Ostrava, Gout made his senior debut at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, stepping onto the same track where Bolt once ruled. At only 17, he faced legends like Noah Lyles but refused to be intimidated. In his semi-final, he ran 20.36, faster than Bolt's own first World Championship semi-final time from 2005. "I've earned my place here," Gout said calmly. "These athletes are stronger, bigger, older, more experienced, but at the end of the day, we're all running 200 meters, and regardless of how old you are." Though he didn't reach the final, his composure and performance spoke volumes. The world had seen the arrival of sprinting's next great talent. Fame hasn't changed him. Despite headlines comparing him to Bolt and sponsorships rolling in, Gout still lives like a regular student. He drives a modest Hyundai i30 and jokes about fighting with his siblings over video games. "It's crazy," He laughs. I've had people ask me for photos, even a baby whose mom wanted me to sign her forehead. Behind the grin in record times is a serious mindset. Gout is still finishing high school while training at elite levels, maintaining his studies in psychology, and embracing the challenge of patience alongside ambition. He has said it's vital to remind himself that progress takes time. Meanwhile, his manager Templeton has worked to keep him grounded, rejecting many media requests and stating that the focus is on preserving normality for a teenager whose athletic journey has already begun in earnest. Gout's rise has also become symbolic. As one of the few high-profile black athletes in Australian track and field, he carries the hopes of a new generation. His father, Bona, once suggested changing the spelling of the family name to Gut to reflect their heritage. Gout declined. He's also faced the uglier side of fame. Social media posts about him have drawn racist comments, forcing networks to disable comment sections. But Gout remains unfazed. His calm defiance has turned him into an icon of representation, proof that greatness knows no color or origin. He's already looking ahead to the 2032 Brisbane Olympics, which will take place in his home state of Queensland. At an Adidas event, Gout called Brisbane's Olympic future destiny, saying, "Definitely for sure." I think God kind of made my parents follow that path. There was a choice between Canada and Australia, and I think per God's will they landed in Queensland for sure. By the time the 2032 Brisbane Olympics arrive, Gout Gout will be 24 years old, right in his prime, and at the same age Usain Bolt was when he captured double gold in London. Physically, he's already evolving into an elite sprinter's ideal build. At 1.83 meters tall, his long legs, rapid stride turnover, and balanced power make him a near-perfect biomechanical specimen. Over the past year, he's grown taller, gained functional muscle, and refined his form to maximize efficiency. Sports scientists studying his technique have noted that his stride length and recovery angles are close to flawless, combining natural rhythm with technical precision. They describe him as biomechanically exceptional. And what's most remarkable is that he's still developing. Yet for all the comparisons to Bolt, Gout remains focused on forging his own path. His drive comes from constant improvement rather than legacy or fame. Even after competing on the world stage, he stays grounded, prioritizing his studies and life outside athletics. Between training sessions and races, he still thinks about school, preparing for his final exams with the same quiet determination that defines him on the track. When he crossed the finish line in Ostrava, smiling beside that glowing 20.02, it wasn't just a record, it was a revelation. In that moment, the world saw the birth of a generational athlete. At 17, Gout Gout has already achieved what most sprinters only dream of: breaking Bolt's youth record, rewriting national history, and inspiring a continent. He's a reminder that greatness doesn't have to wait, that sometimes the future arrives early, wearing spikes and a grin. And for Gout, this is only the beginning.
For all of us to be here, the crowd are on their feet, they're roaring him on. Is it his fourth world record of the year?
Yes!
Oh yes!
Yes!
Oh yes! Oh yes!
On September 15th, 2025, in Tokyo, Japan, one man jumped over a bar set at 6.30 meters high. That's taller than a giraffe. No human had ever done this before, and honestly, most people thought it was impossible. His name is Armand Duplantis, but everyone calls him Mondo. He's 25 years old, and he just broke the world record for the 14th time in his career. Let that sink in. 14 times. Most athletes never break a world record once. Mondo does it like it's his day job. When he cleared that bar in Tokyo, it bounced. The whole stadium held their breath. If it fell, the record attempt was over, but it stayed up. Mondo jumped off the mat and straight into the arms of the second-place finisher, a Greek vaulter named Emmanuel Karollis. The crowd went absolutely wild. After the jump, Mondo said he was at a loss for words. He told everyone in the stadium, "I'm just so happy." For this world record, he won $70,000 for the victory, plus a $100,000 bonus just for breaking the record. Not a bad night's work. So who is this guy, and how did he get so good at flying through the air? Mondo started pole vaulting when he was just 4 years old. His family had a pole vault pit right in their backyard in Louisiana. Most kids have swing sets. Mondo had a full pole vault setup. He would spend hours out there, jumping and practicing. In high school, Mondo was a star. During his freshman year in 2015, he set national records and won awards. That same year, he made a huge decision. He chose to compete for Sweden instead of the United States. Even though he was born and raised in Louisiana, he loved Sweden. He spent every summer there with his Swedish grandparents. Plus, the Swedish national team coach invited his dad to be a coach too. That sealed the deal. At his first competition for Sweden, the 2015 World Youth Championships, Mondo won gold with a jump of 5.30 meters. He was only 15 years old. From there, things just kept getting better. In 2016, he cleared 5.49 meters and became the first high school athlete to vault 18 feet indoors. In 2017, he jumped 5.90 meters at the Texas Relays and broke the world junior record by a massive 10 centimeters. In 2018, when he was just 18 years old, he won his first major senior championship at the European Championships in Berlin. He jumped 6.05 meters. That made him the youngest person ever to win a men's field event in the 84-year history of that championship. He also became the youngest person ever to join the exclusive 6-meter club. Even the great Sergei Bubka, who was considered the best pole vaulter ever, didn't clear 6 meters until he was 21. Mondo went to Louisiana State University for 1 year. He set both the indoor and outdoor college records. He won championships. He dominated. Then in 2019, he decided to turn professional. He was ready for the big stage. And that's when the world record breaking started. On February 8, 2020, in a city called Torun in Poland, Mondo cleared 6.17 meters. That broke the world record that had stood for almost 6 years. The old record belonged to a French vaulter named Renaud Lavillenie, who was actually Mondo's childhood hero. 1 week later, Mondo broke his own record by jumping 6.18 meters in Glasgow, Scotland. Since then, he's broken the world record 12 more times. Here's the pattern. Every time he breaks it, he only raises the bar by 1 centimeter. That's less than half an inch. Why? Because he gets a big bonus every time he sets a new record. His main sponsor is Puma, the sports company. After his 13th world record, Puma joked on Instagram, "Please give us a rest." But here's what's really wild. Nobody else has even come close to these heights. Since Mondo broke Lavillennie's 6.16 meter record, no other athlete has jumped higher than that old mark. Mondo is out here alone in a completely different league. In 2021, he won his first Olympic gold medal in Tokyo. The Olympics were delayed by a year because of the pandemic, but Mondo showed up and dominated. He cleared 6.02 meters and won easily. His competitor, an American vaulter named Chris Nielsen, said competing against Mondo was like a regular football player trying to be like Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. He called Mondo's dominance impressive and ridiculous. In 2022, Mondo broke the world record 3 times in 1 year. He won the World Indoor Championships, the World Outdoor Championships, and the European Championships. He also won the Diamond League title. The Diamond League is a series of the best track and field competitions around the world. That year, he jumped 6 meters or higher 23 times. Nobody had ever done that before. At the end of 2022, he was named World Athlete of the Year. He won that same award in 2020, 2023, and in a different category in 2024. Only 3 athletes in history have won it 3 times. The 2024 Paris Olympics might be his most famous moment yet, at least before Tokyo 2025. On August 5, 2024, in a packed stadium in Paris, Mondo defended his Olympic title. First, he cleared 6 meters easily, then he cleared 6.10 meters, which broke the Olympic record. But he wasn't done. He had the bar raised to 6.25 meters. The crowd started chanting, "Mondo, Mondo, Mondo." He missed his first 2 attempts. On his 3rd and final try, he flew over the bar and set his 9th world record. After the jump, Mondo said, "I haven't processed how fantastic that moment was. It's one of those things that don't really feel real. Such an out-of-body experience. What can I say? I just broke a world record at the Olympics, the biggest possible stage for a pole vaulter. The biggest dream since I was a kid was to break the world record at the Olympics, and I've been able to do that in front of the most ridiculous crowd I've ever competed in front of." He also became only the 2nd man ever to win 2 Olympic gold medals in pole vault. The first was an American named Bob Richards, who won in 1952 and 1956. In April 2025, Mondo won the Laureus World Sportsman of the Year award. That's one of the biggest awards in all of sports. He's the only field athlete ever to win it. The only other track and field athlete to win it was Usain Bolt. By the time Mondo got to Tokyo in September 2025 for the World Championships, he had already broken the world record 3 times that year. He went into the competition with 102 career jumps over 6 meters. The next best vaulter in history, Sergei Bubka, had only 46. In Tokyo, Mondo won his 3rd straight world title. He cleared 6.15 meters to secure the gold medal. Then it was time for the world record attempt. The bar went up to 6.30 meters. He missed the first try. He missed the second try. Everything came down to one final attempt. Mondo sat down for about 5 minutes. He chalked up his hands. He stood up and stared down the runway. Then he ran. His top speed reached over 35 kilometers per hour. That's about 22 miles per hour. He planted the pole, launched into the air, and flew over the bar. It bounced, but it stayed up. History was made. His dad and coach, Greg, said afterward, "I believe in him. I believed he was going to make it on the last one. You've got to believe." The secret to that final jump? Mondo's dad told him to use a stiffer pole. For his earlier world records from 6.20 meters to 6.29 meters, he used the same pole. But for 6:30, they switched to something stiffer. It worked. Mondo has now won 97 out of 101 competitions since 2020. He's won 49 straight meets. He hasn't lost outside of the Diamond League since 2020. When he competes, people don't just watch to see if he'll win. They know he'll win. They watch to see if he'll break the world record again. Mondo Duplantis isn't just breaking records. He's rewriting what we thought humans could do. At just 25 years old, he's already the greatest pole vaulter who ever lived. And he's not slowing down. The question isn't if he'll break the record again. The question is when and how high he'll go next. Quincy Wilson just ran faster than any teenager in history, and he's not even old enough to drive alone yet. On July 13th, 2025, something special happened at the Ed Murphy Classic in Memphis. A 17-year-old high school student ran the 400 meters in 44.10 seconds. That might sound like just another race, but this run made Quincy Wilson the fastest teenager ever to run this distance. No one under 18 has ever run faster.
Inside is coming before inside coming. Can Wilson hold on? It is going to be Quincy Wilson!
Let's talk about how fast this really is. Wilson didn't just beat other teenagers. He beat Olympic champions. He beat professional runners who train for a living. Stephen Gardner, who won the Olympic gold medal in the 400 meters, was in the same race. Wilson destroyed the competition. The second-place finisher came in almost 0.3 of a second behind him. In sprinting, that's a huge gap. Wilson started in lane 5 and ran like he had something to prove. After the race, he said, "I went out there and shot out like a bullet." He controlled the first 200 meters, then pushed harder in the final stretch. It looked easy. But breaking records never is. This wasn't even his first world record. Wilson has now broken the under-18 record 4 different times. Last July, his best time was 44.20 seconds. He just took another 1/10 of a second off.
Record books wherever he goes, side by side with Bryce Deadman. Pushing for the line. Wilson and Deadman headed to Paris, and they meet the line at the...
That might not sound like much, but in track and field, every 100th of a second matters. Here's what makes this even more impressive. Wilson is now the second fastest under-20 runner in history. The only person ahead of him is Steve Lewis, who won the 1988 Olympic gold medal when he was 19. Wilson is chasing that record too. Right now, Wilson ranks as the 4th fastest 400-meter runner in the entire world for 2025. Not just for teenagers, not just for Americans, for everyone. Only 3 people have run faster this year, and they're all professional athletes. But who is Quincy Wilson? How did a high school kid become this good? Wilson was born on January 8, 2008 in Chesapeake, Virginia. His parents are Monique and Roy Wilson. He has an older sister named Cadence. When Quincy was 8 years old, he started running track. Even then, people could see he was special. His family believed in him so much that they moved from Virginia to Maryland. Why? So Quincy could attend bully school, one of the best schools for young athletes. The Wilson family knew good coaching and competition would help Quincy grow, and grow he did. When he was only 14, Wilson broke a national record that had stood for 30 years. The old record belonged to Obia Moore. Breaking a 3-decade-old record as a middle schooler told everyone this kid was different. Let's look at how Wilson improved year by year. In March 2022, when he was 14, he ran the 400 meters in 48.41 seconds. By August 2022, he had dropped his time to 47.77 seconds. He won his 5th AAU Junior Olympic Games title.
Track nationals now. He's gapping a Bass in the final straightaway here. It's going to be Quincy Wilson trying to break 49 seconds. Let's see if he can do it. To the line here. He's going to do it. Wow, Quincy Wilson.
In 2023, Wilson kept getting faster. He won the New Balance Nationals indoor title in Boston with a time of 46.67 seconds. A few months later, he ran a 400-meter split of 45.06 seconds at the Penn Relays. He wasn't just winning anymore. He was competing at a level most high schoolers never reach. Then came 2024. This was the year everything changed. In March 2024, Wilson ran the 400 meters in 45.76 seconds at the New Balance Nationals indoor meet in Boston. This broke the national high school record. It also beat the official under-18 world best that had stood since 2017. Here's how crazy that time was. If Wilson had run that race at the 2024 World Indoor Championships against the best adult runners in the world, he would have finished 4th as a 16-year-old high school student. In July 2024, he ran 44.20 seconds outdoors. That made him the fastest teenager ever at that distance, and it got him noticed by the people who pick Olympic teams. At 16 years old, Wilson qualified for the 2024 Paris Olympics. He became the youngest male track and field athlete ever to represent the United States at the Olympics. On August 9, 2024, Wilson ran in the preliminary heats of the 4x400-meter relay. His family was there watching. After the race, Wilson said, "It was an amazing moment. I had my family in the stands. I wasn't 100% myself, but my team came out here and did it for me." Wilson ran the first leg of the relay in 47.27 seconds. That was almost 3 seconds slower than his personal best.